Have you ever found yourself in a moment where someone disrespected you in front of others? Maybe by making a rude joke, mocking you, or saying something that made you feel small, embarrassed, or even invisible. It's a situation most people have faced at some point in their lives. And in that split second, so many thoughts rush through your mind. Should you speak up? Should you stay silent? How do you respond without looking weak, or worse, like you're overreacting? More importantly, how do you earn respect in a world where some people seem to gain power by putting others down? How do you command presence and value, even when others habitually ignore, dismiss, or devalue you? These are not easy questions, but they are essential. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. We'll dive deep into psychological strategies, subtle techniques, and practical insights that will help you navigate these challenging social dynamics. By the end, you'll know exactly how to react when someone tries to ridicule or undermine you in public without losing your dignity, your calm, or your power. So, stay with us until the very end, because what you'll learn today might just change the way people see you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. Let's begin by understanding why these situations happen in the first place. You might think that disrespect always stems from hatred, jealousy, or personal dislike, but that's not always the case. Often, the real reason is something much more subtle and even strategic: opportunism. Some people, whether in social circles, family settings, or the workplace, use others as stepping stones. They try to make themselves look better, smarter, or stronger by making someone else appear weak or insignificant. It's a manipulative behavior, but sadly, it's not uncommon. And if you don't know how to spot it and respond appropriately, you might become an easy target. That's why the very first step to gaining respect is this: you must teach people how to treat you, not through force or confrontation, but through clear, confident boundaries and behavior. Getting respect isn't about demanding it. It's about carrying yourself in a way that naturally earns it. And if you find yourself in an environment that consistently fails to value your presence, sometimes the most powerful move is to step away. But ideally, we want to prevent things from getting to that point, and that's where these tools come in. In the next few minutes, we'll go through specific, easy-to-apply tips that you can use in everyday life, at work, at home, or in social situations, anywhere someone tries to test your boundaries or undermine your worth. Now, let's get to the first technique. And this one starts the moment you meet someone. Tip number 1. First impressions matter more than you think. When you meet someone for the first time, always stand up to greet them. Don't remain seated. Standing sends a subtle but powerful signal. It shows self-respect, presence, and readiness. When you stay seated while someone else is standing, especially during an introduction, it unconsciously places you in a position of lower status. They're looking down at you, and whether they mean to or not, they'll feel more dominant in that interaction. Another common mistake is this: looking at the other person's hand when you're about to shake it. When your gaze drops, your head naturally tilts down, and again, this small gesture creates an impression of submission. It may seem insignificant, but body language speaks louder than words. So, next time someone approaches you, whether it's at a social gathering, a meeting, or even just a casual encounter, stand up, look them directly in the eyes, and then shake their hand. That one simple action can instantly shift the dynamic in your favor. Tip number 2. What to do when someone interrupts you in public. Let's say you're speaking, maybe telling a story or making a point, and someone suddenly cuts you off. This happens a lot, at work, in family dinners, or in group conversations. Most people either go quiet or try to talk louder to regain control, but there's a far more effective way. When someone interrupts you, don't immediately react with words. Instead, pause and look them straight in the eye with calm, firm focus. This silent look, if held for just a moment, sends a clear message. You've crossed a line. After holding eye contact, speak clearly and politely. Say something like, "May I finish what I was saying?" or "Can I pick up where I left off?" This keeps your tone composed and respectful, but it also asserts your space in the conversation. People respect those who don't allow themselves to be steamrolled, but who also don't resort to aggression. This calm but assertive approach sends a subtle message. You noticed the disrespect, and you're not okay with it. You don't need to raise your voice or act aggressively. Often, a steady look is enough. It tells the other person without a single word that they crossed a line. And believe it or not, this alone is usually enough to make them stop. When done confidently, even in a public setting, this technique makes others realize that you are someone who demands attention and respect without having to shout for it. And remember, you don't have to stare at them with anger or intensity. Just calm, composed eye contact will do. People are incredibly sensitive to body language, especially in social situations. The person interrupting you will feel that all the attention has now shifted to them, and they'll likely back off without you having to say much at all. Tip number 3, how to respond when someone tries to humiliate you with a joke. This one is common. You're in a group of friends or colleagues, everyone's laughing and talking, then someone suddenly makes a joke at your expense. It's framed as humor, but it cuts deep. It's meant to get a laugh while putting you down. Here's how to turn the tables without losing your cool. First, don't react right away. Don't give them the satisfaction of an emotional response. Instead, pretend you didn't hear the joke properly. Then, slowly and calmly, turn to them and say, "Sorry, I wasn't listening. Could you repeat that?" This response does two powerful things. It shows that the joke didn't even register with you. It didn't hurt, didn't matter. It puts the joker in a very awkward position. Why? Because now they have to say it again. And jokes lose their power when repeated, especially ones that are meant to mock or humiliate. The second time around, people are more aware of the intention behind the words, and the humor often falls flat. The spotlight shifts. Now they're the one who looks awkward. By keeping your cool and using this technique, you take control of the situation. You maintain your dignity, and the person trying to embarrass you ends up embarrassed themselves. This is how you silently command respect, through emotional intelligence and strategic calm. Tip number 4. Use the power of unexpected responses. Sometimes people try to provoke you, poke at your emotions, or make comments just to see you react. This is especially common with manipulative or narcissistic individuals who thrive on emotional chaos. In these moments, you can flip the script by doing something completely unexpected. Change the subject to something totally unrelated. Let's say someone makes a passive-aggressive remark meant to provoke you. Instead of reacting emotionally or defending yourself, you calmly reply with something like, "Do you know a good coffee place around here?" Or, "I think I sprayed on too much perfume today." Yes, it sounds absurd, but that's the point. This tactic disrupts their rhythm. It cuts their mental script. They're expecting you to get flustered, to argue, to fall into their trap. But instead, your response confuses them. It puts the control back in your hands and subtly communicates, "I'm not playing your game." The key here is to make your off-topic comment feel natural. Don't smile too much, don't act sarcastic. Just say it calmly and move on. It's a psychological reset that forces the other person to pause and rethink their approach. Tip number 5. Know when to walk away. And finally, perhaps the most powerful move of all, is knowing when to simply leave. Here's the truth. No one is required to respect you. But at the same time, you are not required to tolerate disrespect. If you find yourself in a situation, whether it's a friendship, a relationship, a workplace, or even a family dynamic, where your value is consistently overlooked, your presence taken for granted, and your dignity questioned, then it's time to make a decision. Walking away is not weakness, it's not surrender, it's strength. Because by walking away, you're sending a clear message. I choose peace over drama. I choose self-worth over toxic approval. I choose to be missed rather than mistreated. Sometimes, your absence will speak louder than your words ever could. Have you ever been in a situation like this? How did you respond? What worked? What didn't? We'd love to hear your story. Share your experience in the comments below and let others learn from your wisdom. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, remember, you teach people how to treat you every single day. See you in the next video.